Zach, what are your initial takeaways from tonight's scrimmage, and did the defense end up winning 15-13?
The defense ended up winning 19-13. Or really, I'm sorry, they would have been 22. They would have gotten 7 points there for the fourth down stop. They just probably didn't go up on the board. But I thought it was really competitive. Some of those drives stretched out. There's some good competitive red zone stuff. That red zone competitive period went for 5 drives, which was some great work. And saw some good things on both sides of the ball. And again, it was just one further look to get a chance to see some guys. We didn't tackle tonight. We're at the point now we need to keep our guys healthy and keep them ready to play here 2 weeks from today. We'd be walking off the field right now from that first game is what the feeling will be. And so, right now we're just going to make sure we keep our guys healthy and still get some quality work in.
How difficult is it, Zach, to not have officials, even, in something like that? I mean, that's a tough dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Doug Rossfeld can't win. Offense is mad at him. Defense is mad at him. He's but again, those guys do a great job for us, and that is a little bit of the hard part of it. You got the crowd murmur, so we got a good feel for what that noise is going to be like, and it is enough to where you can't communicate really well, from someone who's 15 feet away from you. You got to be up close, and so. There's a lot of shouting and no one really understands what you're saying. So you got to utilize the headsets. And so that part was interesting.
How would you assess Joe's performance today?
Go ahead, Bill. I saw you talking. I'll come back to you, Ben.
Just thoughts on Joe Burrow's effort tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was solid. There were some good things, and I noticed some drops. We got to do a better job catching the ball. That's one thing that really stood out. And really, there was a game winner there in that red zone drill. That would have been a walk-off touchdown there to win the game, and we didn't get it. And so those are some things we got to clean up. Overall, these scrimmages are good. Having the stadium with the play clock and my communication, can improve as well to the quarterback. So it's good to kind of get some of those kinks out of the way early. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, that was kind of my question, but also I guess on that pick by Jesse Bates, I mean, how would you rule that? Is that an interception? Is that PI? How do we view that?
Couldn't see. That's the one area I have no vision on whatsoever. So I wasn't clear on if it was an interception or a drop or what exactly happened. I'll have to check the tape to know.
Sorry about that. What did you think of Joe's decision-making, especially on some of the scramble stuff where maybe he put a ball just a hair too far for guys, but it was in the spot where really the receiver was the only guy that was going to have a chance at a couple of those?
There's some things that you can clean up there, but it's encouraging. There's some possibilities for some explosive plays that are off schedule. And that's always exciting to add to your offense. Sometimes you don't call the perfect play, and when your quarterback's able to extend it and guys are in phase with him and can create those plays down the field, that's a great quality to have.
The first touchdown to Tyler, did that count? The first touchdown to Tyler Boyd, or did he juggle it, or was it good?
I was calling the plays on offense, and I was right there on the sideline, so that was a touchdown in my eyes. Maybe if I was on the other sidelines, I wouldn't have seen it that way, but that's the way I ruled it.
Zach, how important was getting clarity with the linebacker room in tonight's scrimmage? And is that a little harder to do without tackling? Do you feel like you learned a little bit about that position group tonight?
It's hard without tackling. There's no question. But the one thing we can see and grade them on is the communication, getting lined up, getting the line, getting other people around them lined up, being in the right gap when you're supposed to be there. Obviously, the tackling portion of itself is going to be live and in person here in 2 weeks. But have been impressed with the job that Al has done with those guys, and they're all as advertised. It's a really competitive room right now, and there's obviously roles for several of those guys.
Pratt has looked real comfortable in pass coverage. I mean, tonight he ran, deep ball down the field. He's done it a couple times at training camp. I mean, he looks real comfortable, in his pass coverage and running with people well down the field.
I apologize. What was the name you said? I missed the name. Pratt. Yeah. I mean, all of our guys have stepped up. The guys that were here last year, Pratt was a rookie last year. He's not playing like a rookie this year. He stepped up and made the strides he needed to make. And so, again, he's when you're calling plays on the offense, it's a little bit hard to get a great assessment of the defense right now until we get a chance to walk through it. But been impressed with the way that those linebackers have made strides all camp.
How did you feel the O-line played, Coach, or do you need to look at the tape?
Yeah, there's obviously some challenges going against our defensive line. So when the 1-0 is going against the 1D, as a play caller, it certainly affects the way you think when you see some of those guys we got up front. And so again, there's some things we're going to have to clean up. And again, there were some big positives there. We got some nice runs and had some time on some of those throws that got extended plays. They did a good job covering up the guys so Joe could move around a little bit. So again, just as usual, there's some good and some bad there.
Which running back impressed you the most tonight?
Yeah, again, the linebackers and the running backs are the hardest ones to assess, but I noticed some good things from all of them, and I thought Samaje had some nice, strong runs. He hit the hole quickly. Travion and Jaquez did some good things as well, and we got Gio a couple things in there early. So overall, that group has been on the up and up.
The drops tonight, do you credit that to, mental execution? Was that just defense making a nice play, getting involved? Or
there were certainly some instances where there's some tight coverage, and those defenders made the plays on a lot of those 50-50 passes, and oftentimes they had their back to the quarterback and the receivers going up to make the play, and the defense came out the winner on a lot of those. And then a couple of them were just drops, and so, again, we'll get a better picture of that when we see it on tape, but that part was a little disappointing.
Was wondering what you thought about the protection. I was wondering what you thought about the protection on that last when Joe was when the offense was going in for the win. I was wondering what your thought was on the protection, on the pass protection.
Got one more than we can handle, so ball's gonna have to come out.
Looked like from a protection standpoint, running backs are doing a pretty good job in blitz pickup. All of them seem to be pretty squared up and getting after a little bit.
That's Jamal harps on that like crazy. If you want carries, you got to be able to protect in the pass game, and that's been a big point of emphasis this entire training camp. And there's certainly some moments where the linebackers get the better of them and some of those safeties, but overall, been impressed with the progress the running backs have made in pass protection.
Zach, you had a quick moment on the sideline before the scrimmage got started with Joe Mixon. Do you have a timeline on when you'd like Joe back on the field?
Just working back when he starts to feel better. And so it was good to see him around. And I can't tell who's talking to me. Someone must be wearing a mask or something.
Just how much of a positive sign was it to have him out there even though he wasn't taking part?
He's always got great energy, and so it reminds me of last training camp during those preseason games, when he was getting a lot of carries and he was right there next to me. But, Joe's always upbeat and has great energy.
Zach, do you expect him back anytime soon?
We'll take it day to day with Joe.
Zach, I know this is going to sound like a very stupid question here, but have you seen enough from Joe Burrow to feel like you feel comfortable where he's going to be the unquestioned starter for Week 1?
Yes.
What about what you've seen over the first two scrimmages gives you that comfort that you need?
It's command of the offense, leadership in the huddle, understanding of what he's got to do to move this offense, his competitiveness, his urgency. Certainly there's areas to clean up. There's no question about that, but he's got a great grasp. Just going over the call sheet with him today before the scrimmage, we're in sync in terms of how we see things and think of things. And, we haven't had a chance to be on the field too much together, but it is important to start to see things the same way. And so I really feel like we're making a lot of progress in that direction. So he's just been impressive. He's what we expected when we took him number 1 overall. Hasn't disappointed one day he's been out there.
Obviously, no AJ tonight. Would you anticipate him on Thursday when you scrimmage again, or are you good to go with him now?
We'll see. It'll be day to day, and we won't scrimmage on Thursday. It'll end up being more of a mock game. Again, just as we think about the best way to be ready for next Sunday. We'll get 3 days of practice in this week, but Thursday night will not end up being a scrimmage. It'll just be a mock game to work through some of the mechanics of playing our stadium, going through warm-ups and all that stuff.
Tonight, Coach, the numbers weren't huge. I mean, it looked like 10 offensive linemen were available. Looked like 7 defensive backs, 4 wide receivers. You didn't have a ton of bodies out there. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of guys, a lot of snaps, though, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of guys got good work, and they're going to be tired. In the first game, they're going to be tired, and that's the biggest thing we stress to them is getting used to these drives on offense and defense, these long drives. We need your best when it gets down in the low red zone. So I think it's a good experience for these guys to have to go through that tonight.
Coach, I noticed John Ross had a thicker arm brace or sleeve than he had in practice. Is that still okay, and you just left him out for precautionary reasons, or has anything changed?
Yeah, just for precautionary reasons.
And then as far as wide receivers go, Mike Thomas continues to stand out and show he has a good rapport with Joe Burrow. What have you seen from him over the past couple of weeks, and how impressed are you?
I've seen it the last 3 years. He's an explosive guy. He's got good knowledge of our offense. And so he's quarterback-friendly receiver, And so, again, he had another nice day tonight. But he's had a really strong training camp so far.
Any more for Coach?
Coach, and anybody on the back end, any defensive back, you when you call the play and you're looking at things as a former quarterback, any defensive back stick out to you? Like, you mentioned William Jackson, during the scrimmage on Friday, he jumped out at you. Anybody jump out at you tonight that made some plays?
All those guys have had their moments, and they got some tough tests in front of them. We got a receiving core that will really stress you. And so, there's going to be times they give up plays. But again, tonight, when we go back and watch the tape and see who was a part of those contested incompletions, because most of them were incompletions. And so, overall, I just thought the DBs were tight in coverage. They made the plays that came their way. And, each one of them has shown some nice flashes.
It looked like Tony Brown had a good night. He had 2 near interceptions.
Yeah.
You would probably like to see those picked off, though.
Tony made some nice breaks on the ball. And again, that is the biggest thing we need to see from those corners is just finishing the play. And we'll get there. But again, they're getting hands on the football right now, which is encouraging to see. And now we just got to do a great job finishing those.
Real quick, how would you describe Ryan Finley's development from last year to this offseason?
Yeah, he's got a much better grasp of the offense, and I was impressed with him last year with how he picked it up, especially those weeks he had to play, in his preparation during those game weeks. And, it wasn't always the best situation for him. It was tough to play quarterback in those circumstances oftentimes. And I always feel like he gets a bad rap for a lot of that stuff. But he's gone about his business. He's not fazed by anything. He's poised and ready to play. He knows he's one snap away. And so just really impressed by the way he goes about his work, his knowledge of the offense, the questions he asks. He's really in his second year, he's really become an NFL quarterback from the mental standpoint of things. And so just again, feel like we got a great number 2 there.
Joe Burrow starts out 0 for 3, not really all his fault. There was a drop, at least one there that I can recall. But, man, he just seems to stay put. And he doesn't panic. He just stays poised. I think he completed like 7 or 8 in a row after that.
Poise is a middle name. I guess that's one way to put it. It's not much phases him. Probably the thing that gets him the most is when he feels like the errors on his own. To not duplicate the same mistake twice. But again, he's a competitive guy, and we expect him to lead this offense to a lot of points.
Any more for Coach?
Thank you all.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, if you wouldn't mind, could you just give us a quick count to 5, and that way everyone can find your video.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, everyone, go ahead and fire away.
Joe, how would you assess your performance tonight?
I mean, it's not my best. Obviously, you'd like to, I'm always striving for perfection, and today wasn't perfection, but, we're still working through some kinks and some logistics stuff. So I'm still confident that we'll be ready for the first game, but, it's not what you'd like to see today.
Do you feel like you improved from your first preseason game? Your first scrimmage to your second?
Individual performance, no, but I think I'm getting better every day. I feel more comfortable than I did last week. So I think, my overall performance is still getting better.
Did this feel a lot different or a little different from that first scrimmage? Was it a lot different or a little different? Which would you say it would be?
I would say a lot different. The first scrimmage we were kind of hitting on all cylinders. Today was, we had some rough patches as an offense, but we'll watch the film and critique ourselves and get better.
What did you
Just off
start
the-
on? I'm sorry.
Just off the hip, I mean, what do you think kept y'all from kind of finding that sync that y'all had in that first scrimmage?
We had some guys out. We weren't live, so, it's tough to run the ball when any kind of touch is a tackle. And then, we didn't execute the way we needed to. I didn't execute the way that I needed to. So I know, not everybody was happy with how we played today.
Did the crowd noise have any effect on the logistics? Was it tough to get used to, or was something obviously you haven't had before?
No, I don't think that had anything to do with it. It was good to have it out there to get used to what it'll be like in the games without fans in the stadium. So we tried to make it as game-like as we could.
I would imagine if you had louder crowds.
Yeah,
it wasn't too hard for you.
Yeah, I played in the SEC, but there's some loud crowds out there.
Joe, looks like you won't have an officiating crew on a football field with you until you play the Chargers on the 13th. Is that kind of weird? Is that kind of odd not having them out there? I mean, there was some calls where, what really happened? What was the deal? Is that kind of a tough thing to deal with?
Yeah, it is. The guys that we have out there on staff that are kind of being our makeshift officials are doing a good job and trying to make it as game-like as they can. But, you really won't get that experience until the first game.
When you started out 0 for 3, and then you completed like 7 or 8 in a row, I mean, is that just Joe Burrow? I mean, no panic, all poise?
I mean, yeah, sure. I'm not, if I go 0 for 3, 0 for 10, I'm going to keep throwing the ball and keep trying to execute the offense the way that I need to do to win. So I'm not focused on, the last play. I'm living in the moment on the field. Every play is life or death to me.
Joe, we saw a touchdown of Tyler Boyd and a couple good connections. How important and invaluable is that to just build that connection with him when, you have AJ and Joe sitting out? I mean, he's one of your top playmakers, right?
Yeah, TB's going to have a big season, I think. He's been working hard and really understands what we're trying to get done on offense. I have a great connection with him right now as well as a lot of other guys.
Joe, along those lines, I mean, how concerned are you about not really having any kind of game scrimmage type experience with AJ, at this point?
We get our individual routes that are full speed, so that's really I just need to see him run full speed routes, and I've seen that, and I feel comfortable with how he runs routes. He feels comfortable with how I'm going to throw them. The one thing I think I am a little worried about is not getting hit until the first game. I've been kind of lobbying to be live in one of these scrimmages. I don't know how well that's going to go over, if I'm going to get my wish, but we'll see.
I don't think you're going to get your wish on that. But that's actually a good question. Do you feel like you're getting a feel for what the NFL pass rush is going to be like when they can't sack you?
Yeah, I mean, you do as much as you can, but you'll never really know until you get out there and you're live and the bullets are flying. So I've always prided myself with, my movement in the pocket, and so it's just going to have to be quicker and faster decisions at the NFL level.
Joe, you've been one to not avoid contact when you've been out of the pocket and running. Do you feel like that's going to change? I mean, do you have to adapt that style to maybe slide a little bit more?
yeah, I'm going to slide a little bit. I'm getting paid lots of money now. That was my thing all the time. Once they start paying me money to play this game, I'll probably start protecting my body a little more.
Joe, there were some 50-50 balls, not just with the number one offense, but overall the number twos. Coach was referencing that the defense did a better job than they had up to date on getting their share of the 50-50 balls. That's not going to deter you from doing your thing, though, right? I mean, you have utmost confidence that if they're not going to catch the football, the defense won't.
Yeah, if we have one-on-one coverage, I'm going to throw it up to my guys and expect them to make a play. Those aren't 50-50 balls. To me, those are 80-20. I think, our guys get paid a lot of money to catch footballs, and the defense gets paid a lot of money to cover, not catch footballs. So I'm gonna trust my guys and put the ball in the right places, and they're gonna go make plays.
That last snap, that fourth down, Coach, I guess, kind of alluded to a blitz. That would happen on the fourth down from the 8 or wherever you guys were trying to get the winning touchdown?
Yeah. They brought a good blitz. It's a good blitz that they have. It's tough to block. So it was, I didn't get it picked up the way I needed to, and I had to, get the ball out of my hands and hope he made a play for me.
Joe, y'all went out to the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center yesterday, and Mike Brown was out there. How important was that for you to kind of see that from the ownership that they were involved and kind of were involved in the conversation the way that the players had wanted throughout the week?
I think that was great for, our team, our organization, and for the community to see Mr. Brown and the whole family there with us, showing their support, leading the charge towards change. And, a lot of guys and a lot of people in this building have worked really hard to drive change and to find foundations that we can support and find events that we can do to kind of facilitate change. And we're going to continue to do that. That was just one step in this process, one baby step. It was a great event with the full support of the organization, and we're going to continue to do what we can to facilitate change as far as race relations and police brutality and try to unite this country.
Joe, the last time you made a speech like you made at the Freedom Center was your Heisman Trophy acceptance speech, and your speech led to like $600,000 being raised for a hell of a cause. Do you think there was a plan that was executed, after your speech? Now the speech is the first step for everybody, but do you think there's a plan in place that could lead to $600,000-$700,000?
There is a plan in place that we're gonna roll out here in the next year. There's events getting put on. There's money being donated and gathered for foundations, and there's going to be a lot of good that comes out of it.
Joe, I know you guys got to tour the Freedom Center too. Was there anything that you saw inside that left a lasting impression on you, or is memorable to you?
The number one thing that hit me was the fact that the education system didn't really educate me on a lot of topics. The specific example would be the black codes in Ohio. I had no idea what those were, and the people at the Freedom Center did a great job explaining that to me, how you had to have a permit if you were black in Ohio to live here, and how you had to have 2 people vouch for you and pay $500 so you could live in the state of Ohio. I had no idea. I had never been taught that information, so that was, I think, great for a lot of people to hear that information. I think it would be great for a lot of people in the community to hear that.
A lot of your teammates have told stories about things they've experienced. So a lot of your black teammates. Have there been more than one occasion where it's opened your eyes real wide how could that have happened to somebody?
There really has been. When you're a white player, you don't think about half the things that, your teammates think about, the things that they have to talk to their kids about. It just doesn't even cross my mind. And to hear that is really eye-opening. I won't share any specifics because that's not my place. But there has been a lot of stories that have been eye-opening.
Hey, Joe, how was the decision made for you to be one of the 2 that would talk there? Was that a vote? Did you step up to do that, or how did that come about?
So Trey was the one that kind of wrote the mission statement. So he was going to read it, and then my teammates thought it would have a great impact if I read it. So they kind of asked me to read half of it, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't take away Trey's opportunity to read what he wrote, but they, said that was okay and that I should be the one that read the second half.
How'd that make you feel?
It made me feel really good. I think, my teammates have done a great job of making me feel comfortable and part of the team. And, it's not always the case as a rookie. So I think it really did make me feel at home.
Joe, but I'm wondering when you spoke to
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. Can you restart?
Have you? Can you now?
No, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Do we have any more questions for Joe?
I do have another question. It was a little bit hard to tell on some of the things what counted and what didn't count tonight. What happened on the first touchdown pass to Boyd? Did they blow that dead because of a sack?
They called it a sack, yeah.
And how about the interception?
There was mixed signals on that interception. I heard defensive pass interference. I heard incomplete. I heard interception. I'm not really sure what they ended up calling.
Joe, do you feel like you're tracking in a good way based on your experience last year and your overall experiences in football every year? Are you tracking in a good way for the opener against the Chargers? Do you feel good about where you are right now?
I feel good about where I am right now. I'm not where I need to be yet. I still have a lot of work to do in these next 2 weeks before I play on Sunday, but I feel good about where I'm at right now. I think my teammates feel good about, where we're all at right now, but the pre-game work, the game plan work is not even close to finish. So we still got these 2 weeks to hone our skills and get ready for that first game.
It looked like Hubbard was trying to give you a pretty good look. He kind of chased you all over the yard today. What did you think about – he was kind of in your face quite a bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was getting after it. That was good to see. That was kind of my first full-speed reps against Sam in a long time. And so he was getting after it. That was really good to see.
Joe, you mentioned being 2 weeks out. Just how anxious are you? I mean, you guys don't have any preseason games. You're not really going full-go live stuff. How anxious are you just as a competitor play a full-go game again?
I'm not too anxious yet. Like I said before, I still have a lot of work to do before I'm ready for that game. I still have I've watched a little Chargers film, but not a lot. So I still have to dive into that. We don't even have a game plan ready yet. So I'm still in fall camp mode right now, and still have these 2 weeks to study and get better every single day before that game.
Joe, you seem to be a guy that loves the grind. I mean, some guys, have their days where might not be as focused as other days. You seem to, every day seems to be real important to you, and you don't want to waste it for your development. I mean, how do you stay so focused like that all the time?
Yeah, I mean, if you waste a day, there's somebody out there that didn't waste the day and you lost the day. So I'm a competitor. I want to win every single day, and I'm always competing against myself to get better every day. And when I compete against myself, I'm also competing against all the other quarterbacks, all the other defenses, all the other defensive coordinators in the league. So I can't waste a day, especially as a rookie. I'm going to attack every day like it's Sunday. It's like it's the Super Bowl. So that's how I'm going to approach it.
Hey guys, just one or two more for Joe. We got to get him out of here.
Do you think that your defensive front in particular, and the Chargers, and Bosa, they've got other defensive players as well. Do you think your defense, though, when they give you the look like they gave you tonight up front, can't be much better than that?
We've got some guys on that defensive front. DJ, Mike Daniels, Sam, Carlos didn't practice today. Carl. We have some guys up there that, I think are going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of offenses.
All right, that looks like it'll do it. Joe, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.